secretary and mentor of most of us, Mr. Javed Akhtar, my dear former colleague and dear friend for many years, and all the distinguished members in the audience, many of whom I know, people I have known in the energy sector, as a finance secretary, and many leading citizens of Bangalore and people eminent in various sectors in the state. It's a pleasure to be meeting with you once again this morning. I'm now representing the Gokula Education Foundation, which runs the well-known Ramaya group of institutions in education, higher education and healthcare. So at the outset, I should say we are very happy to be associated with this event. Center for Sustainable Development has been doing yeoman's service in bringing about awareness among people about the importance of sustainability practices in our day-to-day life, including, let's say, household waste management, or how to make industry more environmentally sustainable, and many other aspects. I have had the pleasure of participating in one or two of those programs organized by CSD earlier. We in the Gokula Education Foundation, we ourselves in our own limited way adopt some of the sustainability practices. Like most of the energy that we consume on our campus is procured from renewable sources, almost 80% of our energy. And we plan to do this, expand this in future, and see that 100% of the energy that we use on our campus is procured from renewable sources itself. That's one. Secondly, we also ensure that energy efficiency is observed in all our operations on the campus, so that over the last 3-4 years, we have switched over to more efficient lighting devices, more efficient machinery, and other strategies. We also, of course, treat most of the water that is used on our campus with our own treatment plant. And even more important, we don't tap any water from the Bangalore Water Supply Board. We procure, we take water from groundwater sources and recycle it for our use on the campus, mostly for uses like gardening and flushing and various other applications like that. These are some of the practices which are perfectly capable of being applied by most institutions, including households very often. Many households have adopted rainwater recharging practices. I think the benefits of this needs to be made well known to most households in Bangalore by organizations like CSD. Now, of course, it is becoming not merely a matter of choice for us, but there is going to be a requirement, legal requirement sooner or later for most industries, most business establishments to adopt sustainable development practices in procuring all the materials that they do for whatever they are producing, and tracing their carbon footprint, as well as how they use their water resources and many other consumables. Now, as Mr. Akhtar mentioned, the SEBI itself is introducing regulations on business responsibility and sustainability reporting. And I'm told that most of the industries which are required to adopt these regulations are having serious shortage of manpower, skilled manpower, which can really help them assess their carbon footprint as well as the use of other materials. And that needs to be filled by educational institutions and training institutions like CSD itself. And we should train our managers there are so many institutions giving management education, they should be told about how to build in sustainability practices as part of their professional work in various industries and business establishments. Coming to the field of energy, Karnataka has been one of the leading states in pioneering introduction of renewable energy. In fact, way back when I became the chairman of Karnataka Electricity Regulatory Commission in 2010, the only megawatt level solar PV plant in the country was in Karnataka, near Malur. We had a 3 megawatt solar PV plant, and that was the only megawatt scale photovoltaic energy plant. And we had many pioneers like people sitting here who had established renewable energy plants using agricultural waste. I think you had set it up in Malavalli, isn't it? Yes, Malavalli. Yes, Malavalli power plant. I remember. And our Indian Institute of Science had conducted a number of field experiments on how to use agricultural waste and waste wood, etc., for generating electricity for consumption in rural areas itself. And we also were one of the states which were aggressively promoting generation of setting up of biogas plants, generation of use of efficient wood using chulas in place of the old inefficient wood stoves that our people were using. But we have come a long way since then, and we have, as Mr. Akhtar just now mentioned, we have the largest renewable energy installed capacity in the whole country for any state. And that includes wind energy as well as solar energy. We also have been facing problems because of that, because we had to shut down. We also expanded the thermal generation capacity, and we had to keep our thermal plants shut down because of the must-run requirement of the renewable energy plants. And that has had its own financial impact on the fiscal situation in Karnataka's budget. But there are solutions to all these problems, but we have been somewhat late in adopting those solutions. We had for a number of years been recommending installation of pumped storage capacity in our state, so that when you have excess energy because of the variable nature of renewables, you should be in a position to use that excess energy for pumping water into storage reservoirs, which can be discharged during peak requirements when you need to generate more. You cannot switch on and switch off our thermal plants as easily as you can do hydroelectric plants. But for a number of reasons, we did not implement those ideas as soon as it was required. And as a result, we have an imbalance right now. Right now, I am told state is facing a shortage of energy, whereas just 2 years ago we were surplus. We didn't know what to do with our energy generation capacity. So we learn lessons, I think, as we go along, and sooner or later we should achieve the required degree of balance, either by sharing excess power with other states or by utilizing it for uses like pumped storage, creation of pumped storage capacity. Now, another field where urgent attention is required in terms of sustainable development is our use of water in agricultural sector and our use of chemicals in the agricultural sector. Both require very urgent attention. Unfortunately, that is not happening with the degree of urgency that it warrants. We have, in one part of the state, a lot of water available which is used quite inefficiently for growing crops like water-intensive crops like sugarcane and paddy. In another part of the state where we say we have serious shortage of water for agriculture, and we are of course now finding the solution of pumping water from Koramangala Chalagatta Valley treated water to the drought prone areas of some parts of the state. So these imbalances, and also we have a good part of our water resources going into the sea without being used into the Arabian Sea from the West Ghats side. So very carefully we need to develop plans to see that we balance our requirements of our resources as well as the availability, so that throughout the state we are able to make use of these resources in a more sustainable and most efficient manner. It is not merely sustainable, it is also efficient use. A farmer needs only so much of water for a particular crop. But if water is available around the clock, free of cost, he may not use it most efficiently. Not that he uses excessive water, because no crop will survive excessive irrigation. So they don't use it excessively, but they may not always be able to use it efficiently. And at least in southern part of Karnataka, the drip irrigation practices have become very, very widespread, which means that with less than 40% of the water, or even less, maybe 1/3 of the water that you were requiring for sustaining any crop through flow irrigation, you are able to get better yields by use of drip irrigation methods. So there are many, many things that we can do to see that the resources that we have, the limited resources, water resources and other resources we have, can be used most efficiently. And whatever practices we adopt in agriculture and industry, they become sustainable, because we owe an obligation to rest of the country, rest of the world, and to the future generations to compulsorily adopt sustainable practices in all that we do, instead of merely focusing on shareholder value creation in every business enterprise that we have. I'm sure the excellent work that's being done by CSD will create the required awareness among everybody concerned, and also result in formulation of important policies which will make us all adopt sustainable practices for the benefit of everybody. Thank you very much for this opportunity.